Chosen one, this moment is not a coincidence. Your soul was drawn to this video because the heavens whispered the same message to you 7 times. The number 1111 didn't appear before your eyes for nothing, and the prayers of 33 prophets did not fall upon you by chance. You are one of the 144,000 chosen, and your presence here is a divine sign. This message was sent to awaken the secret that has been resting within your heart. What you are about to hear are not just words, but divine vibrations that will sink deep into your soul. If these words are touching you, leave your heart in the comments so the heavens can witness your testimony. Because when you write, another soul will awaken. Now prepare yourself, for this video will illuminate your path. Those who recognize the signs of God know that nothing is random. That's why your being here is already a miracle. Family, our voice is rising. We are walking toward our first 1,000 subscribers. If this message speaks to you, press like, subscribe to Chosen Archangel, and comment, "I'm part of this mission." You're going to surprise a lot of people with what you survived, chosen ones. Everyone who believed they had you figured out is about to experience a seismic shockwave as what has been buried in quiet explodes. When you finally break your silence, get ready for jaws to drop and worldviews to disintegrate. Some people won't be able to cope, but you never had any duty for their comfort. You did more than merely make it through adversity. You made it through the unthinkable. You did more than simply overcome obstacles. Forces outside the bounds of conventional reality were vanquished by you. Most people would have committed for psychological examination due to the situations you had. However, you managed to survive every otherworldly attack, every encounter that defied reality, and somehow came out stronger than before. The cosmic alarm is going off, and you are the one who is hearing it. Not now, not next week, not tomorrow. Even before you took your first breath, the cosmos was getting ready for this moment. Truth is finally given a microphone thanks to a divine appointment created by the alignment of the stars. Like a crescendo in a cosmic symphony, the synchronicities that have led up to this point have been intensifying. Every individual who came into your life, every book that you read, and every seemingly chance interaction were all planned to set you up for this particular epiphany. You are the soloist set to take center stage in the decades-long timing masterpiece that the universe has been performing. The signatures on your survival are inexplicable to forensic specialists. When they examine your recuperation, medical specialists search for gaps in texts. Psychologists investigate your resilience and find flaws in accepted notions. You are living evidence of the inadequacy of the official narrative regarding human limitations. That people's ability to survive is badly underrated in the conventional wisdom. Your body's scars communicate tales that would be dismissed as fiction by medical publications. Your brain's neurological circuits have been rewired in ways that neuroscientists maintain are not feasible. Your emotional fortitude runs counter to everything trauma experts think about human nature. You are a living anomaly that calls into question the core presumptions of several scientific fields. You survived more than one impossible circumstance. You made it through a series of impossible situations. Each one builds upon the previous one. Each one gets you ready for more difficult exams. Each one demonstrates that human endurance goes far beyond what has previously been recorded. Even with a detailed explanation, most people would find your life to be a master class in otherworldly survival skills. Your current energy signature differs so greatly from the typical human frequency that, even before you enter a room, sensitive people may sense your presence. Animals react differently to you. Around you, technology acts strangely. When you're emotionally active, the weather seems to change. Your furnace of unimaginable encounters has transformed you into something more than human. You were not intended to be a mere swimmer. You're a natural at walking on water. The first step you take in the direction of the microphone marks the start of that water walking. Because your narrative isn't the only one you're carrying. For thousands of others who are still stuck where you were, it's the key that opens the prison doors. Something hefty and something that would break the backs of lesser souls has been in your possession. And yet here you are, utterly unbroken, twisted, perhaps damaged, but unbroken. It's not simply mental baggage from traumatic events that weigh you down. It is proof of interactions that take place beyond the realm of typical human experience. You have seen events occur in the pauses between heartbeats, the quiet between words, and the gloom between ideas. You have endured circumstances in which living itself turns into a miracle that is impossible for scientists to duplicate in a lab setting. Your narrative reveals the systems based on falsehoods, the reputations created through deceit, and the cozy slumber of a society that would sooner click snooze than confront the alarm of reality. This is what makes it dangerous, really dangerous. More than simply your own tranquility has been safeguarded by your silence. It has been defending delusions, fictitious feelings of security, and belief systems that the world functions according to universally accepted laws. You will be sharing more than just your experience when you speak. You'll be declaring that reality is much more bizarre, flexible, and perilous than anyone could have ever dreamed. Because medical textbooks are produced by people who have never experienced the forces you did, they do not include the symptoms of what you survived. Because normal therapy was not created for persons who have miraculously escaped unthinkable situations, your recovery process does not follow conventional therapeutic models. Natural explanations, supernatural interventions, miraculous escapes, and divine coincidences cannot account for all of what you have encountered. At times, you've doubted your own sanity, wondering if everyone else was correct about you. You are aware of what transpired, though, beneath the doubts that were sown like poison seeds. What you observed is known to you. You are aware of your experiences. Your spirit already contains the words. In reality, every nightmare that left you out of breath was a download of information that your conscious mind was unable to digest while you were awake. Each panic episode that appeared out of the blue. Was your nervous system adjusting to frequencies that are uncommon for most people? Dissociation wasn't always a breakdown. Your persecutors were afraid you may make a breakthrough into enlarged consciousness. Your body has become a live repository for unattainable events. Your tissues contain biological memory that holds information that could transform our knowledge of human potential. Scientists have yet to document the genetic expressions that have been produced by the DNA alterations that took place during your survival. Your mere being is a biological impossibility that is visible everywhere. You weren't just experiencing trauma-related physical symptoms during your ordeal. In order to cope with supernatural pressures, your system was actually changing in real time. In reality, the hypervigilance that everyone referred to as anxiety was your consciousness growing to notice threats that are present in numerous dimensions at once. PTSD was not the cause of the sleep difficulties. In dream states, your brain was rewiring itself to stay awake during attacks. You have acquired skills that current psychology does not label. At frequencies that polygraphs cannot pick up on, you may sense deceit. Predators can be identified by their modest energy fingerprints, which behavioral experts fail to notice. Intuitive guidance systems that function more quickly than logical cognition can help you avoid danger. They are not abilities. These are evolutionary adaptations brought about by unjustified circumstances. The spiritual abilities that arise from your trauma are so profound that you would be acknowledged by ancient wisdom traditions as having attained states of consciousness that normally take decades of focused practice. You've been expedited through initiations that mystics and shamans strive for their entire lives. The supernatural sensitivities that function as spiritual radar systems have been created out of your pain. You've gotten so good at reading people's energy fields that you can see disease, dishonesty, and ulterior motives just by looking at them. Your nervous system's pain receptors have been rewired to detect emotional frequencies that are not typically conscious to most individuals. You've evolved into a living lie detector that uses methods that science hasn't yet identified. A story you didn't write made you the antagonist. Everyone believed that she was the easy scapegoat, the container for all projections, failures, and flaws, and that she was simple to discredit, reject, and destroy. The fact that you cannot destroy what the universe defends was never recognized. What the cosmos is appointed to say cannot be silenced. What is meant to rise cannot be buried. The assassination of the character wasn't arbitrary. It was not a personal grudge. It was the deliberate eradication of a threat that was identified before you did. There was something in you that the world couldn't let go. Genuine experience supported by genuine power. Carefully crafted representations of reality are in conflict with your own being. There are situations when good people just don't get certain things, where certain experiences aren't conceivable, and where certain recoveries aren't possible. Since your credibility would reveal ineptitude, you had to be dismissed. Every like is a light. Every comment is a testimony. Every subscription is a voice added to the 1,000 we are reaching for. Be one of them today. Your voice would expose lies, thus you had to be silenced. Because brokenness would be illuminated by your wholeness, you had to be broken. Not only were you inconvenient. Based on my limited knowledge of the world, you were impossible. The story that has been written about you is about to fall apart like glass and concrete. Under the blazing sun of your reality, the meticulously crafted image that was projected will vanish like morning mist. This is rehabilitation, not retaliation. This is alignment, not an attack. Not all versions of events are challenged in your survival tale. It destroys whole conceptual models of human resiliency. You healed from something that ought to have caused irreversible harm. You recovered from circumstances that ought to have required lifelong counseling. After events that ought to have resulted in institutional care, you were able to function again. Professional limits are in direct opposition to your very being. There will be a lovely moment when you finally speak. The missing parts will suddenly fall into place for those who can hear. People will see clearly for the first time as the fog in their eyes clears. Your perception has really become supernaturally sharper as a result of the gaslighting that was employed to cause you to doubt your own perception. In reality, the seclusion that was supposed to crush your spirit has made you more connected to cosmic forces than you could have ever imagined. In ways that are beyond normal human awareness, the attempts to drive you insane have really made you sane. Your tormentors never realized that when under tremendous pressure, consciousness crystallizes rather than breaks. Your awareness has been squeezed into diamond-hard clarity that swiftly shatters illusions, like carbon exposed to unfathomable heat and force. In fact, your mind has been so thoroughly cleansed by the methods used to destroy it. A forensic degree of information has been added to your memories. Word for word, you can recollect talks from extremely stressful situations. You are able to recall contextual details, speech tones, and micro-expressions that most people would never notice, much less remember. Your brain has evolved into a recording device that can record evidence with uncanny accuracy. In reality, the tragedy that was meant to shatter your identity has brought all facets of you together into a single, unheard-of power. You acquired numerous viewpoints that all contribute to your expanding consciousness, whereas others would have formed multiple personas to cope. You didn't break. You developed multiple dimensions. In fact, your superpower is the hypervigilance that doctors diagnose as a sickness. These days, your nervous system functions similarly to an early warning radar, identifying dangers in various aspects of reality. You are aware of impending danger before it materializes in the physical world. Your body has evolved into a biological security mechanism that safeguards not only you but also others around you. Some people who hear this message had fled something so oppressive, so dark, and so stifling that they had to vanish into thin air. No explanations, no farewells, no forwarding address, just gone. Cowardice wasn't what that was. That was your intuition acting as a conduit for cosmic knowledge. That was the protective hand pulling you away from the path of destruction. Your escape involved more than just getting out of a difficult circumstance. It involved pulling yourself out of a meticulously planned trap intended to collect your life force for reasons you were not yet completely able to understand. You weren't simply leaving toxic individuals behind. Energy vampires had recognized you as a renewable resource, and you were running from them. A battery that was believed to be normal even though it could be depleted endlessly. As no one was looking, you slipped gone. Your entire life, including your name, phone number, and address, has changed. You were rushing to something bigger, something more pure, something predestined, rather than away from anything. Psychological warfare experts would be amazed at the intricacy of what you escaped. Experts in mind control would be impressed by the degree of manipulation you identified and resisted. Cult dynamic scholars would be fascinated by the subtle programming you rejected. But to see what was going on, you didn't need certificates or degrees. Something much more valuable was in your possession. Intuition was triggered. Forces that are not visible to your captors downloaded your escape route straight into your consciousness. Dimension-spanning intelligence networks planned the timing. Through avenues beyond the realm of ordinary reasoning, the resources you required materialized at the exact moment you needed them. You triggered procedures that had lain dormant in your spiritual DNA since birth the instant you made the decision to depart. Older guidance systems became operational. Suddenly, protective mechanisms that had been dormant under weight came into play. You didn't simply get away. You carried out a planned cosmic extraction expedition before you ever faced peril. In ways that statisticians would describe as inconceivable, the route you followed to achieve freedom defied probability. All of the wrong turns ended up in the right spot. Every delay shielded you from threats you were unaware of. You were set up for miraculous interventions by every seeming error. It wasn't only a successful getaway. It was a masterwork of exquisite dance. The entire fake ecosystem was exposed when you vanished from the hazardous environment. The predators turned against one another as they had no energy to feed on. The meticulously balanced matrix of manipulation fell apart. When you stopped participating, the lies that had been bolstered by your silence were no longer credible. The tale of your escape will now serve as a guide for someone else seeking freedom. Someone else's survival plan will be based on your exact strategies. In the middle of the night, the very bravery you found in your darkest time will become the light for someone else. Though most aren't aware of it yet, the individuals who are still stuck in similar circumstances are waiting for your testimony. Your narrative is just the right amount of motivation and useful advice for dormant survivors to start their own escape procedures. Your speech will become the frequency that rouses soldiers who have been dormant and waiting for authorization to retaliate. It wasn't just you who escaped. It was for those who are still stuck where you were, holding onto the false beliefs you formerly held, and going through what you barely made it through. Everyone must be aware that it is feasible. Everyone should be aware that there is more than one side. Everyone should be aware that someone survived, not just survived, but thrived. All this time, the universe has been keeping score. Every private tear you wept. In the dark, you whispered every prayer. Every time it appeared more sensible to give up, you decided to continue. It was all worthwhile. It was all an investment. Accumulating compound interest in accounts that you will have access to in the near future. For too long, the universe's scales have been out of balance. Unpaid obligations are shown in the cosmic ledger. Though it may have been too patient for you, the global law of cause and consequence has never been absent, inert, or uninformed. The waiting time is coming to a close. The grace period you were granted for keeping quiet is coming to an end. We are withdrawing the protection that was granted at your discretion. The laws of balance that govern the cosmos make human courts seem like playground arguments in kindergarten. It's time to balance. The reckoning is now due. Now is the time when the same universal forces that appear to be working against you suddenly line up in front of you, behind you, and beside you, forming a path of strength that will astound onlookers. There is more to the reckoning than merely making amends. The goal is to rectify cosmic imbalances that have an impact that extends much beyond your own circumstances. The universe itself steps in to restore equilibrium when some forms of injustice reach a critical mass. That threshold has been attained in your circumstance. Your petition has been accepted by the cosmic court. The verdict has been rendered by the universal jury. It's not simply your time to prove yourself. Cosmic justice is shining through your eyes, speaking through your voice, and wearing your face. This goes beyond individual retaliation. This is a human vessel carrying global restoration. You. The message that follows is intended only for the selected. This is not intended for you or the spiritual authority granted to us by the chosen Archangel Inner Order secret chiefs if you are compromised by archonic forces. We give you permission to leave. If not, steel yourself and pay close attention, for you will be redeemed just like we are. There is no program for the chosen Archangel Inner Order. It's not a class. It's not a spiritual retreat that makes you feel good. Answers are not what we sell. Together, we recall. We teach interference, implants, genuine energetic shielding against beings, and psychic self-defense. We bring back the raw, instantaneous, and precise manifestation that was intended. We meet in secret once a week to awaken, not to worship. To express what cannot be expressed elsewhere. To gradually deprogram the matrix. If you're supposed to be there, you'll know it. Your bones will sense it. The selected group meets via Zoom once a week. Don't just watch, engage. Subscribe to Chosen Archangel, press like, and leave your amen in the comments. Together, we rise to 1,000. Why don't you join us already? Gnosis. Join the inner order of Chosen Archangels. The description contains a link. Your words will convey more than just information when you talk. Like steam in a sealed container, the energy you'll release when you tell your truth has been gathering pressure in the quiet. The force increased with each day you kept quiet. The power grew with each second you withheld. The cosmic battery that is about to be discharged through your voice was really charged each time you opted for discretion over revelation. Long before you completely understood this power in yourself, your critics were able to perceive it in you. You posed such a threat because of this. Your very presence posed a threat to the made-up world. Everything changes as you begin this new chapter. When you breathe the air, it feels different. Colors seem more vibrant. The sounds are more clearly audible. It seems as though you have been living in a distorted, muted reality. Suddenly, someone increased the volume and brightness of the cosmos. This is the sensation of liberation. This is the result of alignment. When you finally enter the area that the universe has been preparing for you from the day of your birth, this is what occurs. The doors don't merely open in this new world. As soon as you arrive, correspondence stops working. Resources are not created overnight. You are pursued by abundance as if you were wearing a heavenly beacon. Individuals don't only assist. Souls appear as though they have been sent on your mission, bearing the perfect items you require at the ideal time. Observe what occurs when spiritual alignment shows up in the physical realm. After your energetic pathways are cleared, notice the avalanche of abundance that ensues. Observe how rapidly the material world rearranges itself to accommodate your freshly asserted reality. Damned financial streams start flowing again. Opportunities that appear to be forever out of your grasp unexpectedly appear. Nourishing rather than depleting, elevating rather than devaluing, and celebrating rather than tolerating relationships. Your new normal is these. Yes, your new home, the one you'll obtain by methods that will appear miraculous to onlookers, will be more than just a place to live. It will serve as a haven, a base of operations, and a sanctuary from which you can begin truth-seeking missions that will improve communities, change lives, and yes, even shift the course of human consciousness. This new existence is based on the bedrock of truth rather than shifting sand. You revealed your truth fearlessly, lived without compromise, and said it without apology. Your emergence won't be celebrated by everyone. Your voice won't be praised by everyone. Your truth won't be accepted by everyone. This is not only feasible, it's assured. The fact that your freedom emphasizes incarceration will make some people uneasy. Cowardice is illuminated by your courage. Confusion is revealed by your clarity. Your affluence betrays an attitude of scarcity. Untreated wounds are triggered by your recovery. Because your sheer existence jeopardizes the established institutions, the lies that have been told, and the projected image, some will be outright hostile. You are the real-life antithesis of meticulously crafted fiction. The exception that defies the rules is you. The wonder that defies constrained paradigms is you. Observe the wriggling. Observe the real-time rewriting of history. See frantic efforts to refute what cannot be denied, to discredit what cannot be discredited, and to remove what has been inscribed in the cosmic record forever. You don't care about discomfort. You have nothing to do with hostility. It is not your responsibility whether you can or cannot incorporate your reality into worldviews. All you have to do is tell the truth. You are solely dedicated to the light. Before your physical form ever took shape in this plane, your spiritual DNA included a goal that you are solely loyal to. The universe itself will stand and applaud when you speak your truth with all of your might, when you tell your story with all of the authority of your experience, when you share your journey with all of your soul's authenticity, holding nothing back out of fear, diluting nothing out of comfort, and filtering nothing out of a need for approval. When you eventually grab that microphone, literally or figuratively, your voice will change in some way. At first, people who know you might not even identify the sound. Are they truly that? Everyone is hearing the voice of your true self for the first time, and they will ask, have you always sounded like that? The voice that was untarnished by the need to please, unfiltered by fear, and undistorted by uncertainty. This is your voice at its strongest, most genuine, and most resonating. Truth has cured the restricted vocal cords caused by trauma. Cosmic intervention has freed the throat chakra that was obstructed by repressed expression. Divine repair has deepened the breath that was shallow due to hypervigilance. You're not only using your human voice when you speak now. The energies you are channeling come from dimensions where the only language spoken is truth. Speak with the authority that has been bestowed upon you by cosmic appointment rather than by human institutions. Talk to the world as someone who is bringing revelation rather than someone who is looking for approval. Act as an oracle who speaks whether or not people are willing to listen, rather than as a supplicant pleading to be heard. You will sound like two different persons on audio recordings taken before and after your awakening because of the drastic change in your voice. Your frequency will be so clean that just hearing you talk will cause healing reactions in others. Information is not all that your words will convey. Activation codes that awaken latent potential in anyone who is willing to receive them will be transmitted by your voice. Speaking will allow someone in another nation to hear your experience firsthand and muster the bravery to flee abuse. Your testimony will be discovered online by a youngster who will decide not to finish things. Your story will move someone with power to alter a policy that impacts thousands of people. A future leader will point to your example as the turning point that led them to change. By speaking the truth, you will open doors for others to access courage they never knew was available. Your testimonies will create new models of potential that broaden the scope of what people think they can endure and conquer. Your survivor narrative will become a frequency that continuously reverberates throughout the collective consciousness, providing proof that escape is feasible to those in their darkest hours. The majority of these consequences will be unknown to you. Most of these effects are impossible to quantify. Most of these changes won't be attributed to you on Earth, but the universe keeps impeccable records. Nothing is missed by the universal ledger. There is no waste in the spiritual economy. Inform everyone of what was done for clarity's sake, not for retribution. Tell everyone what was stated to shed light, not to embarrass them. Not to relive the agony, but to let the truth out. Tell everyone what occurred. Then explain what transpired to everyone. How night gave way to light. How the scars turned into knowledge. How the breakthrough resulted from the breaking. How the same things that were supposed to harm you ended up serving as the basis for a fate that no one could have predicted or stopped. Your strongest testimony may be the difference between what was expected of you and who you are now. Your strongest argument is the contrast between what was done to you and what you have done with it. Your strongest evidence is the difference between who you've shown yourself to be and who everyone said you were. You were deemed worthless by everyone. Examine the value that you have produced. Everyone thought you were insane. Take a look at your newfound clarity. Everyone said you were done. Take a look at the fresh start you have found. You were cursed, everyone said. Take a look at the blessings that come your way. This contrast is more than just an interesting story. It's poetry about the cosmos. It's the universe using your human story to illustrate its basic essence. Darkness gives way to light. Pruning is followed by growth. Crucifixion is followed by resurrection. The very fabric of life is woven with this pattern. And you've turned your life into a living example of this universal truth. You didn't create this contrast, which is what makes it so potent. These situations weren't set up for dramatic effect by you. You just lived a true, steadfast, and faithful life, and the contrast developed itself as organically as shadows do when light shines. This revelation's timing is neither fortuitous, accidental, or random. The cosmic choreography is flawless, intentional, and accurate. Why now? Why not when the injuries were still fresh? Why not later, when more proof might become available? Because the time has come for the collective awareness to accept it. The greatest impact will happen now. The biggest change will be brought about by the ripple effects at this point. Only a few hundred years pass between some planetary alignments. There are some astronomical phenomena that can only be seen from particular places at particular times. Some cosmic portals open for a moment and then shut for a very long time. The cosmic significance of this instant, your moment, is identical. It would have been impossible to deliver the message you are carrying sooner. The collective receiver would not have been able to handle the frequency. Later delivery is not possible. The power would be muted, the urgency lessened. Your click is not small, it is part of a movement. Help us reach 1,000 voices by subscribing, liking, and leaving your word of faith in the comments. It has to be right now. You must be the one. You have to say it. What you say now becomes history. Each information you divulge becomes a legacy. Every tale you tell turns into a holy book for generations to come, who will read about your journey as a spiritual guide as well as a historical narrative. Your words will not dissipate like morning mist when you release them into the atmosphere. Because your narrative shows healing possibilities that existing therapeutic models cannot explain, your testimony will become essential reading in trauma recovery programs that are not yet in existence but will be developed. Researchers who are only now realizing that human resilience functions according to laws that go beyond psychological and physical constraints will be examining your survival tactics. New methods of brain training that assist others in achieving superhuman resilience will be inspired by the neural networks you created while overcoming impossible situations. People who experience similar forces will adopt the coping strategies you learned while surviving supernatural attacks as regular practice. Your words will continue to create long after the physical structures have been reduced to dust. Your truth will continue to change long after your present body has been exposed to the elements again. Your spirit will continue to inspire long after your name has evolved in popular memory. Your voice will retain its frequencies in ways that go beyond the capabilities of audio recording technology. Through focused intention, prayer, and meditation, you may make the energy signatures you create when you speak your truth into templates that other people can use. The cosmic library will store your vibrational blueprint, allowing future healers to research the precise frequencies required to overcome particular trauma types. This isn't pride. This is an ego. This is a basic cosmic reality. Truth never dies. Truth produces. The truth changes. Indeed, you have been placed in a position to deliver the truth that the world sorely lacks, that souls are famished for, and that the future is eager to accept. Memorials will eventually be built in your honor by the organizations that want to suppress you. Not because people's hearts have changed, but rather because there will be so much proof of your survival that it would be irreparable harm to credibility to dispute your narrative. Eventually, the experts who discounted your experiences will reference your instance in the study. Not because they understand, but because their work would become meaningless if they ignored your results. Not when things go better tomorrow. Not until you're better prepared. Not when resistance wanes. No, not when support grows. The cosmic window has now opened. The celestial spotlight is fixed. The stage is set for universality. The audience of eternity is seated. It's the spiritual microphone. It has also been positioned just in front of you. It's not a random time. The chance is not fortuitous. Forces that are more adept at cosmic timing than atomic clocks or at earthly time have organized the confluence of events that have led you to this point. Actually, all of the delays you encountered were preparatory. In reality, every setback was prearranged. The cosmos was actually adjusting the circumstances for maximum impact every time you felt prepared but were unable to speak. Keep in mind what I said at the start. Everyone who believed they know you will be shocked by what you've been through in quiet when it's finally revealed. So, here we are. The stillness will soon end. The waves of shock are about to start. Not only is your tale compelling, it is explosive. And everyone's understanding is going to change as a result of that eruption. People believed they knew your journey. I assumed that your difficulties were understood. Thought it was possible to foresee your outcome. However, no one knew what was actually going on behind the scenes. Your survival's supernatural components will put into question worldviews that have been meticulously crafted to rule out such possibilities. Your recovery's miraculous elements will compel belief systems that have functioned within unnaturally constrained limitations to expand. Your transformation's impossibility will open minds that have been closed by spiritual poverty and scientific materialism. Being just another swimmer fighting the waters was never your destiny. Your ability to walk on water was innate, and it doesn't begin when you're ready. It doesn't start when everything is ideal. It begins when you leave the boat of quiet and have faith that the same energies that got you through the impossibly difficult times will get you through this epiphany. Your narrative is going to shock a lot of people. Your testimony has the potential to transform the lives of countless people. With your truth, you're going to change the very frequency of the collective mind. The world itself will stand and cheer when you do. Your words will cause the universe to resonate in unison. The alignment of truth delivered via a vessel designed specifically for this purpose at this time, in this location, and at this instant will be celebrated in the spiritual realm. It's your turn. The instant that permanently alters everything. Another phrase for the miraculous is the moment that turns you from someone who has survived the impossible into someone who demonstrates the impossible. There's a pause. The world will never be the same after the water walking starts. Chosen one, remember this, heaven never sends a word without purpose. If this message has stirred your spirit, let it shine brighter. Press like so the light spreads to others walking in darkness. Subscribe to Chosen Archangel so you never miss the next divine revelation. And share your thoughts in the comments below. Your testimony may be the very spark that awakens another soul. Until we meet again, stay covered by the wings of heaven and walk boldly in your calling.